It is one of the most controversial issues over the past decades, considered a sin by religion, illegal in many countries, and deemed immoral by society, often referred to as the oldest profession known to mankind. Dating back over 4,000 years ago, in the temples of Mesopotamia, prostitution has existed within our society for several centuries. Well, to begin with, what is prostitution? Prostitution, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, is the practice or occupation of engaging in sexual activity for payment. You might be wondering, why am I making this video? I am making this video to challenge a common misconception about prostitution laws. I'm here to challenge the law which criminalizes prostitution and make you question whether the law is doing what it's supposed to do or just making things worse. And why should you listen to me? You should listen to me because I'm qualified to talk about this topic since I am from Brazil, a country where prostitution is completely legal and common everywhere. Although I have never had any experience with a prostitute myself, I know a lot of people, close friends of mine, who have. In addition, I've done a lot of research regarding this topic through reliable scholarly articles and scholarly sources, so I know what I'm talking about. You might be wondering, why is this issue relevant? Well, this issue is relevant because it's a very common issue. According to an essay, Prostitution in the United States, written by a Seton Hall University scholar, Abdul Nasser Hamdan, there are over 1 million prostitutes in the United States of America. Prostitution is a lot more common than you might think, and it occurs constantly, everywhere, every single day. Moreover, according to the news article from ACLU News, the fight continues in 2020, with active decriminalization bills in several state legislatures and advocates pushing elected officials like district attorneys to take pledges to not prosecute sex work. At the federal level, Congress has introduced the Safe Sex Workers Study Act, which will study the effects of SESTA and FOSTA. But first we must understand why prostitution laws exist in the first place. Prostitution laws exist for three main reasons. The first reason is to prevent the transmission of STDs, such as AIDS and HIV.
We have tried to answer only one: how an individual can break the chain by understanding the diseases and their cure.
The second reason is to avoid sexual exploitation of women, minors, and just to avoid sex trafficking in general. The third and last main reason is to build this society's stigma against prostitution. The government does not want society to be sex-driven and too obsessed with the idea of sex and prostitution. There are a lot of reasons why the law does not do what it should. Firstly, because of the laws to prevent prostitution, prostitutes are shamed every day all across the world, ashamed of their job, and thus a lot of them end up committing suicide. Additionally, they are also often abused and taken advantage of with the fear of being arrested if they report anything. They are often reluctant to disclose their profession. A prostitute is considered a criminal since prostitution is a crime. And if a criminal were to report anything to the police would not even bat an eye. Due to this, only one question comes to mind. Do the laws actually protect these workers? Or do they just increase the harm even more? Plus, the criminalization of prostitution has nothing to do with sex trafficking and sexual slavery with minors. This is a completely different topic. Even if prostitution were legal or illegal, these crimes would occur, and another type of law, another type of method would have to be used in order to prevent these horrible crimes. Finally, although prostitution is legal in Brazil, it is not something that happens every single day with every single person. It is still an underground profession. In New Zealand, for example, as long as sex workers register with police, it is legal and considered as an actual job. In addition, the New Zealand Prostitution Reform Act of 2003 PRA requires sex workers to use a better method and replace the registration of sex workers with licensing brothels. Also, why should we care? According to the scholarly article scholarship.shu.edu about prostitution, we know that over 1 million prostitutes work in the United States. This issue is important because if this is not resolved, millions of women and millions of families will continue to suffer in the United States. In conclusion, our society needs to change the way we think about sex workers and prostitution laws. I'm not suggesting to completely make prostitution legal and allow it to happen freely, but I believe that it should be regulated and decriminalized as it is in the New Zealand and Brazil. I believe it should be heavily regulated. People have to wear protection, that it should not be criminalized, as bad as it is, since sex workers are dying from it, and the prostitution laws are not protecting the sex workers as they should.